Hello, my name is Katrin Hartwig and I'm a PhD student at the PSEC research group of TU Darmstadt in Germany. Our research group combines computer science with peace and security research. Together with Biselli, Franziska Schneider and Christian Reuter, we developed and evaluated an indicator-based misinformation intervention for teenagers on TikTok. Misleading information, both created intentionally and unintentionally, poses a recurrent challenge on social media. Popular video sharing platforms like TikTok are increasingly filled with questionable and sometimes dangerous misleading content. The consequences are particularly evident in times of crisis, such as the COVID-19 pandemic or the Russian war of aggression against Ukraine. While misinformation concerns us all, teenagers might play a particular role, as they are on the one hand considered experienced digital natives, but are regarded as more vulnerable by others. AI or human fact-checkers can help filter misinformation. But what is important as well is the decision on what to do post-detection. There are multiple approaches that aim to address the challenge of misinformation. This includes media literacy training at schools or critical journalism. HCI research has investigated digital misinformation interventions as one possible countermeasure. These approaches aim for fostering media literacy and facilitating autonomous user assessments. Indicator-based misinformation interventions are one way of implementation. They enhance transparency and trust while minimizing reactance. They use identifiable characteristics of misinformation to assess and convey the credibility of content, presenting them as cues to the users both for immediate feedback and educational purposes, and enabling them to develop assessment skills on their own. Our study aims to advance HCI research on misinformation interventions, focusing on video sharing platforms in a user-centered manner and with a particular focus on teenagers. In doing so, we asked ourselves the following questions. How do teenagers evaluate misinformation indicators in terms of comprehensibility and usefulness? How can the indicators be applied to a smartphone app as a digital misinformation intervention? And how do teenagers perceive the chances and limitations of such an approach? We conducted a twofold study with 39 teenagers aged 13 to 16 in Germany. First, we derived video-based misinformation indicators from scientific literature and media literacy manuals. Then, in a first user study, we aimed to gain insights into which indicators teenagers already use autonomously and how they evaluate the derived indicators in terms of comprehensibility and perceived usefulness. Therefore, we conducted focus groups and individual surveys in a local school. This allowed us to identify a set of potential user-centered indicators for video sharing platforms. In our second user study, we built on those findings and developed a simulated prototype smartphone app using Figma. We evaluated it in individual Think Aloud sessions with different students at school. We analyzed the rich qualitative data applying thematic analysis, deriving overarching themes, and triangulating it with additional quantitative data from the individual survey items. Our findings reveal that indicators on different levels such as layout, profile, and interactions of other users expand and confirm the perceptions of teenagers. In particular, the young participants intuitively applied characteristics of manipulated videos as indicators, but they were not very aware of the misleading potential of emotional music and sounds. Implementing the indicator approach as a simulated smartphone app, it received overall positive feedback, especially for its transparency. We did not evaluate the statistical efficacy of the intervention, but our qualitative insights reveal potential for the teenagers being able to transfer their gained knowledge and skills to novel content. Transparency and comprehensibility were central reasons for the teenagers positively assessing the intervention. However, we further found that the approach comes with severe limitations, as the participants tend to blindly trust in the simulated algorithm and were not at all aware of it potentially making mistakes and resulting consequences for content assessment. For future research, we suggest expanding the scope on a larger-scale quantitative evaluation of efficacy, preferably in a real-world usage scenario. In particular, the smartphone app was not fully implemented, but a prototype that simulates a preceding automatic or manual detection for misleading videos. Evaluating the indicator-based approach fully implemented with state-of-the-art detection techniques would allow for a more meaningful evaluation of the challenges and limitations that come with false positives and false negatives. We invite you to check out our full paper to learn more about this work.